The courtroom was packed that morning, sunlight streaming in through tall windows as rows of people shifted uneasily in their seats. Journalists whispered, pens ready, cameras waiting to capture every flicker of drama. It wasn't just another trial, it was the kind of case that could change everything, exposing power, corruption, and the truth people were too afraid to speak. At the center of it all was not a powerful lawyer, not a politician, not a seasoned witness, but a small, trembling child, just 12 years old. He stood barely tall enough to see over the wooden railing, his hands clutching the edges, his face pale with both fear and determination. Everyone expected silence, stammering, or perhaps nothing more than a frightened child's tears. But what he said next froze the air in the room and left the world holding its breath. Sparkling heart, before we continue, if you believe in truth, courage, and kindness, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel Kindness Pulse. Together, we can spread stories that inspire hope and remind the world of humanity's strength. Sparkling heart. The judge leaned forward, his gavel resting on the desk, his eyes narrowing as the child raised his head. The boy's voice cracked at first, but then came out clear and sharp, carrying across the room with heartbreaking weight. "The cops beat me." Gasps echoed through the courtroom. The defense attorney dropped his pen. Reporters scribbled furiously. Even the officers sitting at the back stiffened, their eyes dark with unease. The boy's words were simple, but they carried the power of truth no adult could ever package into legal arguments. In that instant, every person in the room felt the raw wound of injustice laid bare by a child's fragile courage. The judge asked him to explain. Slowly, painfully, the boy described how the officers, the very men sworn to protect him, had cornered him after he was mistaken for someone else. He had been coming home from school, his backpack heavy with books, his sneakers worn thin. They accused him of theft, though he had stolen nothing. When he pleaded his innocence, their hands became fists. He spoke of the blows, of the fear, of crying out for his mother who wasn't there to shield him. His small voice trembled, but he never looked away. Each word fell heavy, like stones cracking the walls of denial. People shifted in their seats, some wiping tears, others clenching fists in anger. The child's mother sat at the front, tears streaming silently down her face as she listened to her son relive the nightmare. For her, it was both agony and pride, agony to hear the pain he endured, pride to see his strength shining despite it all. Then, just when the silence felt unbearable, the real shock came. The boy reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, a crumpled piece of paper. He unfolded it with shaking hands and held it out. The judge motioned for it to be passed forward. When the paper reached the bench, the courtroom leaned in, desperate to know. It wasn't just a paper. It was proof. The boy had scribbled the badge numbers of the officers who hurt him, scrawled in his notebook the night it happened, afraid he would forget but determined to hold on to the truth. The courtroom erupted. Reporters shot to their feet. The officers at the back turned pale. And for the first time, power shifted, not toward the uniforms, but toward the fragile voice of a child who refused to be silenced. The judge banged the gavel for order, but even he couldn't hide the fire in his eyes. Justice had been cornered too long, and now, because of one brave 12-year-old, it was breaking free. As proceedings continued, the boy's testimony combined with his written evidence became impossible to deny. The defense tried to twist his words, to break him, but he stood strong, repeating what he endured. The court wasn't hearing a child anymore, it was hearing truth, pure and undeniable. And the world outside those walls was already buzzing, the boy's courage spreading across headlines, across hearts, across every person who ever doubted that one small voice could change everything. That day, the courtroom wasn't just a place of law, it became a stage where courage defeated fear. The boy walked out not as a victim, but as a symbol of resilience. His mother's arms wrapped tightly around him, tears soaking his hair, whispering that he had done something incredible. And deep down, everyone present knew that justice would never be the same again. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Kindness Pulse. Stories like these remind us of the power of courage, truth, and humanity. Your support helps us spread light in a world that desperately needs it. Special request. Comment below and tell us, what would you have done if you had been in that courtroom, hearing a child speak truth to power?